On Friday, September 16th, the Commission on Presidential Debates announced its decision to not allow Gary Johnson to participate in the debates. I'm adding my voice to those who insist that the CPD reverse this decision and include Gary Johnson in the debate. He has earned that privilege, and the American people want and deserve to hear his ideas. This is a fact, and I'm going to show you the evidence. On Wednesday, September 14th, Quinnipiac University released a poll of likely voters. I put a link to this poll in the description, and I recommend that you read it for yourself, because I think it'll tell you a lot about just how desperate the political situation in the United States has become. When Clinton supporters were asked, what is your main reason for supporting Hillary Clinton? Just under a third, 32%, said that their main reason was that they liked Hillary Clinton. Over half, 54%, said that their main reason for voting for her was to oppose Donald Trump. When Trump supporters were asked, what is your main reason for supporting Donald Trump? Under a quarter, at 23%, said that they like Trump. And 2/3 said that their main reason for voting for him is to oppose Hillary Clinton. And this is almost just as true for Republicans as it is for independents. When likely voters were asked, what is your opinion of Trump? Over half, at 53%, said that they have a strongly unfavorable opinion of him, and this figure rises to 59% when you include somewhat unfavorable. When likely voters were asked, what is your opinion of Hillary Clinton? Over half, again, at 51%, said strongly unfavorable, and that rises to 57% when you include somewhat unfavorable. So we can see that the majority of likely voters have a strongly unfavorable opinion of Donald Trump, and the majority of Americans have a strongly unfavorable opinion of Hillary Clinton. And yet, with the CPD's decision, these will be the only two people on the stage when the presidential candidates debate. When likely voters were asked, what is your opinion of Gary Johnson, on the other hand, over half, at 53%, said they haven't heard enough about him to form an opinion. What is the point of the presidential debate if not to help undecided voters make up their minds about who they will vote for in the election? When the majority of Americans want someone included in the debates, and the CPD decides that they're not going to include him, what are we left to conclude about the aims of the CPD? It's hard to avoid the conclusion that the CPD does not give a damn what the American people want. They have the opportunity to prove me wrong, and I hope that they do. When likely voters were asked, would you consider voting third party, over half of the people under age 50 said yes, they would. When they were asked, should Johnson be included, 57% of likely voters said yes. 2/3 of independents said that he should. And of people aged 18 to 34, 83% said that he should be included. If these poll results don't shock you and make you furious, they really should. The majority of voters do not actually like their own candidate. This, as far as I know, this is historically unprecedented. In the past, America has been divided, but most people at least liked their own candidate. America is having two options it hates shoved down its throat against its will. We are being forced to choose between ghost peppers on one hand and human excrement on the other. And I'll let you figure out which one is which in that metaphor. I want to read you some of the newspaper endorsements that Gary Johnson has received. The Richmond Times-Dispatch says, quote, neither Donald Trump nor Hillary Clinton meets the fundamental moral and professional standards we have every right to expect of an American president. Fortunately, there is a reasonable and formidable alternative. And this newspaper, the Richmond Times-Dispatch, they've endorsed Republican candidates in every election since 1980. The Winston-Salem Journal says, quote, we've surprised even ourselves with this endorsement, our first for a libertarian for president. But the timing has never been better for this particular libertarian, Gary Johnson of New Mexico. He is everything the presidential candidates for the two major parties are not. Thank God. End quote. And this newspaper has endorsed both Republicans and Democrats in the past. They endorsed George Bush in 2000, neither candidate in 2004, John McCain in 2008, and Barack Obama in 2012. The New Hampshire Union Leader says, quote, voters leaning toward Trump are understandably fed up with the status quo, of which Clinton is a prime example. But they kid themselves if they think Trump isn't pretty much a part of that status quo as well, or that he is in any way qualified to competently lead this nation, end quote. And this newspaper, the New Hampshire Union Leader, they have endorsed the Republican candidate for president in every election for over a century. This is a travesty. It's an utter disgrace and a national embarrassment. We're a country of 320 million people with some of the best and brightest in the world, and this is the best we can do? A pair of fraudulent, power-lusting, manipulative con artists who the majority of Americans can't trust and don't like. We can do better than this. This is not primarily about Gary Johnson. Gary Johnson is not my perfect candidate. He may not even be most Americans' preferred candidate. But this is not about whether most Americans would vote for Gary Johnson. This is about opposing the two-party duopoly that ignores the demands of the American people. This is about loosening the closed-fisted iron grip that the party establishment has around the throat of the American electoral process. This is about allowing the American people's voice to be heard and to be represented. This world does not revolve around the egos of Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton. If you agree with me that the American people deserve to hear a third voice on the stage in the debates, I urge you to like this video, share it, and join me in demanding that the CPD include Gary Johnson in the debates. Some other things you can do, you can add a hashtag #LetGaryDebate filter to your Facebook profile picture. You can call the CPD and ask them to include Gary Johnson in the debate. And if you support Gary Johnson, you can donate to his campaign. You can also boycott the debates if they do not include Gary Johnson, and instead watch the simultaneous live stream in which Gary Johnson and Bill Weld will answer the questions being asked in the debate. Thank you, and please join me in asking the CPD to let Gary debate.